What if I told you that your financial struggle is not due to a lack of faith or of work, but because the most powerful spiritual tool for wealth creation was deliberately removed from your reach? Imagine a sacred key, forged in divine wisdom, capable of unlocking the floodgates of abundance yet hidden away, leaving you to try and force the door open with your bare hands. This is not a metaphor. It is the reality for millions of devout, hard-working souls. There exists a mechanism of manifestation so potent that Napoleon Hill, after decades of research, rediscovered it and codified it for the modern world. Yet its true origin is far more ancient, far more sacred. This is the secret that bridges the chasm between your spiritual devotion and your material reality. A secret that explains why your prayers for prosperity have felt like whispers in a hurricane, unheard and unanswered until now. This powerful tool was not concealed because it is a sin or something to be feared. It was simply forgotten, overshadowed by doctrines that emphasized solitary struggle and individual salvation. What the church never taught you is not a transgression, but a secret of immense power. It's a principle of spiritual physics, as real and as immutable as gravity, the very foundation of creation. The method by which the divine architect brings forth reality operates on this principle. You have been taught to pray alone, to carry your burdens in silence, to seek your connection to God in the quiet chambers of your own heart. But this is only half of the equation. You have been given a single oar and told to cross a vast ocean, while the second oar, the one that provides balance and immense forward momentum, lay waiting on a shore you were never told existed. Prepare to understand why your tireless effort has yielded so little, and why your unwavering faith has not yet moved the mountain of debt and scarcity. The answer lies not in doing more, but in connecting differently. We are about to embark on a journey to decode this sacred technology of the soul. This is not another motivational speech or a simple lesson in positive thinking. This is a revelation of a divine law, a blueprint for co-creation that has been waiting patiently within the pages of ancient scripture, a truth that Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to proving. The knowledge I am about to share will reactivate a dormant power within your spiritual life, transforming your prayers from hopeful pleas into powerful decrees of manifestation. The era of your financial solitude is over. Imagine the feeling of the sun on your skin after a Sunday service, a heart full of hope, a spirit renewed by a promise of divine provision. You tithe with a faithful hand. You live an honest life. You work not just hard, but with integrity. Yet, as the weeks turn into months and the months into years, you find yourself staring at the same numbers on your bank statement. The same familiar knot of anxiety tightens in your stomach when an unexpected bill arrives. It is the quiet frustration of a faith that feels unanswered. You are running a spiritual marathon, giving it your all, yet you remain in the exact same place, watching the landscape of your life remain stubbornly unchanged, barren of the fruits you were promised your devotion would yield. You know that hollow feeling in the dead of night, don't you? That silent, creeping doubt that asks a terrifying question. Am I doing something wrong? You've read the scriptures that speak of abundance, of a God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and yet your own pasture is dry. This dissonance between the infinite source you believe in and the finite resources you possess creates a deep spiritual ache. It is the burden of praying for a breakthrough while simultaneously fearing it will never come. This is not a crisis of faith in God, but a crisis of faith in your connection to Him, a haunting suspicion that your prayers are somehow being lost in transmission, failing to reach their divine destination. You see it all around you. People who seem to live without a thought for a higher power, who chase worldly ambitions with a relentless focus, and they seem to prosper. Their businesses flourish, their investments grow, their lives expand with an ease that feels almost mocking. And in the quiet of your heart, a painful question forms. What do they know that I don't? It breeds a unique kind of loneliness, the isolation of a righteous person struggling in a world that seems to reward indifference. Your sincere effort and deep devotion feel like a currency that has lost its value in the marketplace of life, leaving you feeling spiritually and financially impoverished, watching from the sidelines as others effortlessly claim the prizes you seek. This is not just about wanting more. It is about the weight of responsibility you carry, the desire to provide for your family without constant stress, to give generously without fear of lack, to build a future that is secure and peaceful. It's that heavy feeling in your chest when you have to say no to a child's desire or a loved one's need. It's the silent calculation that runs constantly in the back of your mind, tallying expenses against income, a mental prison of scarcity. This burden feels heavier because you've been told to cast your cares upon the Lord, yet you still feel them pressing down on you every single day, a constant and suffocating presence that whispers of your failure and inadequacy. And so in the most vulnerable moments, when the facade of strength crumbles, a single potent prayer escapes your soul. It is not a prayer of elaborate words, but a simple, heart-wrenching plea, "Lord, why not me?" This is the raw, unfiltered cry of a spirit that has followed all the rules, that has kept the faith, that has waited patiently for a sign that it is seen and valued. It is a question born not of envy, but of a profound desire to understand. It is the soul asking the divine why the promised blessings flow to others, but seem to be diverted around you, as if you were standing on the banks of a great river, dying of thirst, unable to partake in its life-giving waters. You have given so much. You have turned the other cheek. You have donated from the little you have. You have trusted in promises that now feel distant and abstract. Your integrity at work, your kindness to neighbors, your commitment to your spiritual path, these are not small things. They are the pillars of a life lived with purpose. And yet, the world system seems to ignore these virtues. The spiritual economy you were taught to believe in, where faith and good deeds yield a harvest of abundance, seems to be bankrupt. This leads to the most painful conclusion of all, that perhaps your devotion is not enough, or worse, that it is somehow flawed, leaving you in a state of perpetual spiritual striving without a rival. This cruel cycle of hope and disappointment has become the rhythm of your life. A powerful sermon reignites the flame of expectation. A moment of deep prayer convinces you that a breakthrough is imminent. You feel a surge of faith, a renewed belief that this time will be different. But then, reality intercedes. A contract falls through, an appliance breaks down, the numbers simply don't add up, and the flame flickers and dies, leaving you in the familiar cold of your circumstances. Each cycle erodes your spiritual confidence just a little bit more, making it harder to rise up and believe again, trapping you in a pattern of hopeful highs and despairing lows that slowly drains your life force. Ultimately, this experience culminates in a profound sense of being spiritually alone, unheard. It is the feeling of speaking into a void. You are told God is with you, yet you feel the chilling absence of His provision. You are told you are a child of a king, yet you live with the anxieties of a pauper. This disconnect is the deepest pain of all. It is this very sense of solitary struggle, this belief that you must face your financial battles alone with your God, that is the very wall blocking the flow of abundance. It is a misunderstanding, a subtle but devastating misinterpretation of divine law that has kept you trapped. And it is this wall that we are now together about to shatter. So what is this wall that stands between you and your divine inheritance? It is not your faith, nor your effort. The true barrier, the common enemy we must now identify, is a deeply ingrained and widely taught doctrine of spiritual solitude. It is the pervasive idea that your journey of faith is a strictly individual affair, a lonely path you must walk with only God as your silent companion. You have been taught to fight your battles alone with God, to retreat into your private prayer closet and wrestle with your doubts in isolation. This teaching, often presented as a virtue of personal strength and singular devotion, is in fact the very reason your financial life is stagnant. It unintentionally disconnects you from a fundamental law of divine power, forcing you to operate as a single, isolated channel when the universe is designed to flow through a unified network. This doctrine has locked you onto the path of effort, while blinding you to the path of alignment. The path of effort is what you know. Working harder, praying longer, trying to muster up more faith all by yourself. It is a path of attrition, a constant uphill battle against the forces of lack. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not respond to brute force. It responds to frequency, to resonance, to harmony. The path of alignment, in contrast, is about attuning yourself to the creative principles of God. It understands that manifestation is not a solitary act, but a symphonic one. The idea that you must struggle alone is a discordant note in the grand orchestra of creation, and it is this dissonance that has repelled the very prosperity you have been so desperately seeking. The truth is, the mentality of spiritual isolation violates one of the most fundamental laws of divine manifestation, the immutable law of harmony and the union of minds. Your financial breakthrough is not waiting for you to become more worthy or to work even harder. It is waiting for you to stop trying to achieve it alone. Your prayers for abundance have been limited not by God's willingness to give, but by the capacity of the vessel you have been using to receive. A single mind, burdened by its own fears and doubts, is a narrow channel. To access the true river of divine supply, you must learn to combine your spiritual energy with another, creating a vessel so strong and so wide that it can receive the torrential outpouring that has been waiting for you all along. So, how do we break down this wall of solitude and step onto the path of alignment? We do so by unearthing a key that was never truly lost, only overlooked. A principle of power so profound that a man named Napoleon Hill dedicated over 2 decades of his life to studying its effects, finally giving it a modern name, the mastermind. He presented it as the cornerstone of all great achievement and fortune, a secret shared by every titan of industry and visionary leader he analyzed. But what Hill found was not a mere psychological trick or a simple business strategy. He had in fact stumbled upon and meticulously documented the practical application of an ancient spiritual law, a sacred mechanism for invoking a power that is infinitely greater than the sum of its parts. This is the key that fits the lock of your financial stagnation. The origin of this immense power, the source from which the mastermind principle flows, is not found in a corporate boardroom or a university library. It is found, clear as day, within the very scripture you hold dear. In the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 20, a divine formula is given to us directly. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. For centuries, this verse has been interpreted as a comforting metaphor for community prayer, a gentle assurance of Christ's presence. But this is a profound underestimation of its power. This is not a metaphor. It is a literal, spiritual, and financial instruction. It is a divine equation for manifestation. 2 or more minds plus a unified purpose in His name equals the active, creative presence of God, ready to move mountains on your behalf. Let this truth settle into the very foundation of your soul. Napoleon Hill did not invent a concept. He decoded a manual for divine power that was hiding in plain sight. The mastermind is the modern term for a sacred covenant. The gathering of 2 or 3 is not simply for fellowship, it is to create a spiritual vortex, a point of concentrated power that draws the presence and intelligence of the divine into your material affairs. This is the missing piece of your faith puzzle. Your prosperity is not meant to be a solo mission. God did not intend for you to build your life alone. He gave you a blueprint for partnership, a divine command to unite with others, because in that sacred union of minds, a third mind, the holy mind, the mastermind, is born, and it is this mind that has the power to create worlds. Let us now walk together into the heart of this mystery and decode the 3 sacred mechanics of the mastermind. The first of these is the principle I call the alchemy of harmony. This is the foundational process by which this third divine mind is created. When 2 or more minds come together, not just in agreement but in deep resonant harmony with a single clearly defined purpose, something miraculous occurs. A spiritual reaction is triggered. It is in this crucible of unified consciousness that a new entity is born, a third mind, the mastermind. This mind is not simply the sum of the individual minds. It is a transcendent intelligence, a direct link to the infinite wisdom of the divine mind, the mind of God itself. It is a conduit, an open channel through which divine solutions, ideas, and opportunities can flow into your reality unimpeded. The secret to this alchemy lies in a single word: harmony. Why is harmony the catalyst? Because the universe is a symphony of frequencies. Every thought, every emotion vibrates at a specific frequency. Doubt, fear, and worry are chaotic, low-frequency vibrations that create static, making your spiritual signal unintelligible to the divine source. Harmony, on the other hand, is the purest and highest frequency. When you and your partner achieve a state of perfect harmony, free of ego, judgment, and competition, you create a coherent and powerful vibrational signal. You are tuning your combined consciousness to the frequency of God. This resonant harmony acts as a powerful magnet, drawing into your experience the very essence of your shared, definite purpose. Without harmony, a meeting of 2 minds is just a discussion. With harmony, it becomes an act of sacred creation. Consider this metaphor. Your mind, alone, is a single, beautiful instrument. Perhaps it is a cello, capable of producing deep, soulful melodies. It can play a beautiful tune, expressing your hopes and desires. However, it is still just one instrument, limited in its range and texture. Its solitary music, no matter how heartfelt, can be easily drowned out by the noise and chaos of the world. Your solitary prayers and affirmations are this single instrument, playing a hopeful melody in a vast, empty concert hall. It is beautiful, yes, but it lacks the force, the power, and the presence to command the attention of the cosmos and compel reality to rearrange itself according to its tune. This is the limitation of the path of spiritual solitude you have been walking. Now imagine bringing your cello into that same hall and joining with another instrument, a violin, perhaps. At first, if you both play your own tune, the result is noise, a discordant clash. But when you both agree to play from the same sheet of music, with the same timing, the same feeling, the same purpose, harmony is born. Suddenly, you are not just 2 instruments, You are the beginning of an orchestra. The combined sound is exponentially richer, more complex, and more powerful. The mastermind is this principle in action. When you and your partner align in perfect harmony, you become this nascent orchestra, and the divine presence promised in the scripture becomes your conductor, guiding your combined energy to create a symphony of abundance so powerful that it silences all external noise and fills your entire reality. This is a form of spiritual alchemy. In a laboratory, a chemist might take two relatively inert substances and, by combining them under the right conditions, create a third substance with explosive new properties. This is precisely what you are doing in a mastermind alliance. Your mind is one substance, your partner's mind is another. Your shared, defined purpose and the crucible of absolute harmony are the correct conditions. When brought together, the third entity that is created, the mastermind, has properties that neither of you possessed individually. It can see solutions to problems that were invisible to you both. It can attract opportunities that were previously beyond your reach. It can access a level of faith and certainty that is impossible to sustain when you are alone and besieged by your own inner critic. So how do you apply this? Your first action is not to make a list of potential business partners. Your first action is to go into prayer. Your task is to ask the divine to reveal to you the one person, the one soul, with whom you are meant to form this sacred alliance. It may be your spouse, a trusted friend, or someone you have yet to meet. Trust that the right person will be brought into your life. The criteria for this partner is not their wealth or their connections, but the purity of their heart and their capacity for absolute harmony with you. This is a quest for a spiritual confidant, not a financial advisor. Pray for this person and remain open and expectant for their arrival or revelation. Once this person has been revealed to you, you must approach them and propose this sacred alliance. Explain that this is not merely a support group or a mastermind in the conventional business sense. This is a spiritual covenant. You will agree to meet once a week for a specific and unchangeable amount of time. This appointment is sacred. It takes precedence over almost everything else. For in this meeting, you are literally meeting with the divine. The sanctity and consistency of this meeting is what builds its spiritual power over time. It creates a stable, recurring energy field that the universe learns to recognize and respond to. A weekly appointment with the creative power of God. During these meetings, you must adhere to one unbreakable rule. There can be no discussion of problems, no complaining about lack, no voicing of fear or doubt. The purpose of this sacred time is not to dissect what is wrong, but to pour your combined focus, energy, and faith into the vision of what you are creating. You are there to be the active visionaries of each other's success. You will speak only of the desired outcome as if it has already occurred. You will use your time to amplify feelings of gratitude, certainty, and faith in the prosperity that is already yours in the spiritual realm, and which is now manifesting in the physical. This disciplined focus is what maintains the harmony and tunes your frequency to abundance. This sacred practice leads us to the second decoded mechanic, the amplified prayer. A prayer offered in solitude is powerful, but a prayer offered within the harmonic field of a mastermind alliance is exponentially more so. It is the difference between a single candle and a colossal lighthouse. The energy generated by your unified consciousness acts as a massive spiritual amplifier for your intentions. Your requests no longer ascend to the divine as a whisper, but as a clear, powerful, and undeniable broadcast that reverberates through the cosmos. This is because the prayer is no longer just yours. It is the prayer of the third mind, the mastermind, which is one with the mind of God. It is a prayer that cannot be ignored because it is already in perfect alignment with the will of the divine. The secret behind this amplification is the removal of the personal ego and its inherent doubts. When you pray for your own prosperity, your request is often colored by your personal history of lack, your feelings of unworthiness, or your fear that you are being greedy. These subconscious filters weaken the signal of your prayer. However, when you step into the sacred role of praying for your mastermind partner's success, you are free of these limitations. Your faith for them is pure and untainted. You can see their potential and their divine inheritance with perfect clarity. And as they do the same for you, you receive the gift of their pure, untainted faith. This exchange of pure belief bypasses the egoic mind and supercharges the prayer with an incredible potency. Think of your solitary prayer as a single, flickering candle in a dark room. It provides light, certainly. It is a beacon of hope and can illuminate the space immediately around you, keeping the deepest darkness at bay. It is a precious and important thing. However, its small flame is vulnerable. A strong wind of doubt can extinguish it. A sudden storm of fear can leave you in darkness once again. Many of you have lived this reality where your fragile flame of faith struggles to stay lit against the harsh winds of your financial circumstances. You work tirelessly to protect this small light, but it is an exhausting and often losing battle against the overwhelming darkness of perceived scarcity. Now envision the mastermind prayer as a great lighthouse built upon a rock of unified faith. It is not a small, vulnerable flame. It is a massive, focused beam of pure energy. Its light is not meant to merely illuminate a small room, but to cut through the densest fog and the most violent storms for miles. Its purpose is to guide the great ships of abundance, laden with all the resources you require, safely into your harbor. This lighthouse is your mastermind alliance. The rock is your shared harmony. The powerful, focused beam is your amplified prayer. It is unshakable, unwavering, and its signal is so powerful that it becomes the dominant navigational beacon in your reality, drawing your good to you relentlessly. To harness this power, you will employ a specific technique I call the mirror prayer. During your sacred meeting time, you and your partner will take turns. One of you, let's say person A, will sit in receptive silence with their eyes closed. Person B will then begin to pray for person A, but with a critical difference. Person B will not ask for anything. Instead, they will give thanks for the abundance that person A already possesses. They will describe it in vivid, present tense detail. I give thanks that my partner, person A, is now a powerful and open channel for divine abundance. Money flows to them from expected and unexpected sources. They manage their wealth with wisdom and joy, providing for their family and giving generously. Their mind is at peace, their heart is full of gratitude. After several minutes of this detailed prayer of thanksgiving, you will switch roles. Person A will now become the active voice, praying for person B in the exact same manner, seeing them as already whole, prosperous, and successful. This is not a mere mental exercise. This practice of mirror prayer does something profound. It bypasses the conscious mind's resistance and speaks directly to the subconscious of the listener, reprogramming it to accept prosperity as its natural state. At the same time, it elevates the speaker into a state of pure, high-frequency faith. You are actively embedding the reality of abundance into each other's consciousness, turning your minds into fertile ground where the seeds of prosperity can finally and rapidly take root and grow. This consistent practice of amplified prayer builds a powerful momentum, which brings us to the third and final decoded mechanic: faith as a collective decree. Napoleon Hill spoke of the necessity of organized faith. This is the point where your faith ceases to be a passive, hopeful wish and transforms into an active, creative power. It becomes a decree. A decree is not a request, it is a command. It is a declaration of what is true in the spiritual realm, spoken with such conviction that the material world has no choice but to conform. A decree made by a single person can be powerful, but a decree made in the harmonic unison of a mastermind alliance has the force of cosmic law. It is a unified statement of reality that the universe must honor. The secret power of the collective decree is its ability to neutralize doubt. Doubt is the great saboteur of manifestation. Even the strongest individual will experience moments of wavering faith. When you are alone, a moment of doubt can derail your entire creative process. However, within a mastermind, the dynamic changes completely. The doubt of one partner is instantly cancelled out by the faith of the other. You create a spiritual safety net for each other's belief. When your energy dips, your partner's energy lifts you up. When they falter, you hold the line. This creates a stable, unbroken, high-frequency energy field around your shared purpose. This unwavering collective belief is what solidifies your intention from a mere thought form into a tangible physical reality. Imagine you are tasked with building a bridge across a deep canyon, separating your present reality of lack from your desired reality of abundance. The heavy beams required to build this bridge are made of faith. If you try to lift and place one of these massive beams by yourself, you may be able to hold it for a short time, but eventually, your strength will fail. The beam of faith will become too heavy, and you will drop it into the canyon below. This is the story of so many solo attempts at manifestation. A good start, followed by the exhaustion of trying to hold the frequency of faith alone. Your personal doubts and fears are the force of gravity, constantly pulling that beam down. But if two of you lift that beam of faith together, everything changes. You share the load. When one person's grip weakens, the other adjusts and strengthens theirs. You can hold the beam steady, indefinitely. You can carefully and deliberately set it in place. The mastermind decree is the architectural blueprint for this bridge. Your collective, organized faith is the unshakable material from which it is built. Each time you meet and recite your decree together, you are lifting and placing another powerful beam, methodically constructing a solid, stable pathway across which your desired prosperity can travel from the unseen world of spirit into your visible, tangible experience. You are no longer hoping for a bridge to appear. You are actively, powerfully, and collectively building it. Therefore, your final practical action is to create your mastermind decree. This should be a short, powerful statement that you and your partner craft together. It must be written in the present tense, as if your desire is already a fully realized fact. It should encompass not just financial wealth, but the state of being you wish to embody. For example, we are united in perfect harmony, serving as open channels for divine intelligence and infinite abundance. Our lives are a reflection of wholeness, prosperity, and joy. We manage our ever-increasing wealth with wisdom, integrity, and grace, blessing ourselves and the world around us. This statement is your shared truth, your spiritual constitution. You will commit this decree to memory. Your sacred weekly meeting will begin with the two of you reciting this decree aloud, in unison, with feeling and conviction. This act immediately aligns your energies and sets the frequency for your time together. You will also close your meeting by reciting it once more, sealing the powerful work you have done. This is not a mindless incantation. It is the conscious act of organizing your faith. It is you and your partner standing shoulder to shoulder, speaking your new reality into existence. This collective decree, practiced consistently, is the final key that turns the lock. It transforms your alliance from a simple partnership into a powerful divine manifestation engine, relentlessly and inevitably bringing your shared vision to pass. Can you feel it? The subtle shift in the energy within you as you absorb this truth. I want you to take a moment and imagine the profound sense of relief that will wash over you when you no longer have to carry the crushing weight of your financial destiny alone. Picture yourself waking up in the morning, and instead of that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach, you feel a calm, centered confidence. This is the feeling of being divinely supported, not just in spirit, but in practice. It is the peace that comes from knowing you are part of an unbreakable alliance, a sacred partnership that is constantly being guided, guarded, and provided for by a power infinitely greater than yourself. This is the first fruit of the mastermind, a deep, abiding peace. From this place of peace, a new clarity will emerge. Imagine yourself facing decisions, both big and small, not with confusion or fear, but with a serene certainty. This is the gift of being connected to the divine mind. Solutions to long-standing problems will appear in your mind with startling simplicity. You will see pathways forward where before you only saw walls. The constant mental chatter of worry and second-guessing will be replaced by a quiet, intuitive knowing that guides your every step. You will begin to operate not from a place of human striving, but from a place of divine inspiration, making choices that are perfectly aligned with your highest good and greatest prosperity, moving with a grace and wisdom that is not your own. As you and your partner continue this sacred practice, you will begin to witness miracles as a regular occurrence in your life. Doors you thought were permanently sealed will swing open with ease. The perfect client, the ideal opportunity, the unexpected check will arrive at precisely the right moment. The universe will begin to conspire on your behalf, arranging synchronicities and orchestrating events in a way that you could never have planned or forced through your own effort. This is the sign that your mastermind is fully activated. You have shifted from fighting against the current of life to being carried by its powerful, benevolent flow, a flow that effortlessly carries you towards the shores of your fulfilled vision. So what is your next step on this sacred journey? I must be very clear. Your call to action today is not to open your contacts and start evaluating potential partners based on their net worth or influence. It is not to draft a business plan or a networking strategy. To do so would be to immediately revert to the old paradigm of solitary effort and material calculation. Your first action must be one of pure faith, an act of surrender to the divine intelligence that has guided you to this very message. It is a call that must be answered not in the boardroom, but in the sanctuary of your own heart. Your true task today is this: find a quiet space and pray for the revelation of your soul partner. Address the divine with sincerity and say, "Reveal to me the one with whom I am to form this sacred alliance. Send me the soul who is in perfect harmony with my purpose and with whom I can serve and receive in this divine partnership." This is your only work for now, to ask and then to listen, to release your own ideas of who it should be, and allow the perfect partner to be drawn into your experience. This is an act of supreme trust, the first true step onto the path of alignment we have discussed. After you have made this sincere request, your role is to become a vigilant and patient observer. Pay attention to the people in your life. Listen to the intuitive nudges you receive. The answer may come as a sudden thought, a name that springs to your mind. It may be the person you least expect. It could be your spouse, with whom you will embark on a new level of spiritual and financial intimacy. It may be a trusted friend, or it may be a stranger who you're about to meet. Do not force it. Simply remain open, watchful, and receptive, trusting that divine timing is at play and that the right person will be made known to you in the perfect way, at the perfect moment. This is the beginning of your liberation, the liberation from the deeply ingrained false belief that your prosperity rests solely upon your own shoulders. Your struggle was real, but its cause was a misunderstanding. Your financial destiny was never meant to be a solitary endeavor. It was always intended to be a co-creation, a divine partnership magnified through the lens of human harmony and unified faith. Every moment of your past struggle has prepared you for this moment of revelation, to be able to truly understand and receive the power of this sacred key you now hold in your hands. Your journey through the desert of lack has led you to the banks of a mighty river. Now is the time to step in. Now is the time to claim the power of divine connection. Find your partner, form your sacred alliance, and watch as your world transforms. Let go of the old way of struggle and embrace this new paradigm of aligned, amplified, and organized faith. The blueprint has been given to you. The key has been placed in your hands. The rest of the journey is not one you will walk alone. Remember this final immutable truth, and let it be the new foundation of your reality. Where minds unite in faith, God manifests the wealth.